What's going on, everybody? It's Rick from Worms with Rick. I have a couple worms hanging out on the edge here, so I'll just knock them back in. This is Worm Wednesday. It's the Vermihut Plus. So we're going to hop right in, see how everything's looking. This was the avocado pit, and it is basically turned into castings. Very cool. The worms that were in there did an excellent job. Here's one of the shells, but there's nothing in there. Well, some worms, but no real worm ball. And just basically some castings. Nothing much going on there. I do remember adding a ton of bedding the last time, so everything's looking pretty good with that. No food that I'm coming across, so that's a good thing. Means that the worms are doing their thing, doing a good job, consuming the food scraps. I like going ahead, especially with the Vermihut. Things can kind of get matted down, so I do like kind of turning and giving a chance to see if there's any really dry spots or any spots that are kind of too compacted. With this, you know, I'm using all my senses. I'm smelling if I smell anything foul or sour. If I'm feeling anything too dry, too wet. So I like to look through, get a chance to incorporate. This is also getting a chance to mix that bin biology and get it, you know, if there's a lot down here, get some moved over this way and all around, which is also a good thing for the bin. This is the side I believe I added a bunch more cardboard to, so getting a chance to kind of incorporate that into the castings. So we'll just drop those guys. That was the avocado shell. Put that back into the center. I tend to like feeding in the center of this bin. Actually, I'll move that out for a second. Yeah, so I like to feed in the center. With this, I did start some more winter rye. So the winter rye, there's some roots. This also has a little bit of the Pro Mix. So that's going to consist of a little cocoa core, some peat moss, a little perlite. That's getting stuffed down at the bottom there. I'm going to try to turn those shells up. This here has kind of larger ends. There's some cucumber ends, and then a bunch of citrus peels, another cucumber end, some carrots, to the feeding area, I'm also going to add some ground coffee. We use K-cups now, and we just cut the top off and are able to dump and scrape the K-cup coffee grounds into a container. For grit for the worms, I like to add a little ground up eggshell. Because the worms don't have teeth, they have the crop and the gizzard. They take small bites of the eggshells, and as they squirm around, that helps to digest the food for them. It's also a good amendment for the garden, so I don't mind having the extra eggshells. Plus, with eating eggs, especially on the weekend, we can avoid throwing them in the landfill, and I also add some to my compost pile. Then, on top of the feeding area, I like to add a little worm chow. This worm chow consists of expired oats, expired flour, and cornmeal, and then also a little bit of pulverized eggshell. This is good for the worms because that feeding is going to take a little while to break down. I have grass in there, roots. I also have some citrus. So things like that, it's going to take a little bit for the bin biology to help break it down. So any worms that are up on top, they can take small bites of this and actually eat that and wait until the food scraps break down before eating the food that's in the feeding area. Let's see. Quick check on the middle tray now. You can see there's some castings on there, a bunch of worms on top. They're probably ones that kind of got aggravated with me rotating and fluffing the bin. So they can kind of keep going between that middle bin back up to the feeding area. And on the next one, I'm going to go ahead and break into this top section. This had a coconut coir mat that the worms have made their way up into, so there's castings and all in here. So I will go ahead and open this up and check and show you how the worms are making out with the mat. And I did pick up hopefully a suitable replacement to add to it. If you guys have any questions, don't forget to drop them down in the comments. Thanks for coming along and checking out this Vermihut Plus. Everybody have a great day.